Mithila or Videha or 𝗧𝗶𝗵 kingdom. Mithila, also known as 𝗧𝗶𝗵, is a geographical and cultural region that comprises certain parts of Bihar and Jharkhand of India and eastern Terai of Nepal. The native language is known as Maithili. As per epic Ramayana, in ancient Nepal, Mithila was capital of Videha kingdom situated between foothills of Himalayas and river Ganga. The city is identified as modern-day Janakpur. The Videha or Mithila kingdom is believed to be bounded on the north by the Himalaya, on the south by Ganga, on the east the Kosi, and on the west the Gandak. It was the region where Gautam Buddha spent most of his time. The name Mithila is derived after mythical king Mithi. According to ancient stories, King Nimi, father of King Mithis, had died young without child, and after his death, the rishis created a young boy from the dead body of his father. Mithi means soil. As King Mithi was born from his father's body, King Mithi was titled Janaka, and all the kings of his dynasty were called Videha Janaka or simply Janaka later. This kingdom was named Mithila from his name Mithis, and its capital was called Janakpur. After this, the kings of Mithila were called Janak. The history of Mithila kingdom goes from Vedic age. This dynasty was also called Videha Janaks. The name Mithila is commonly used to refer to the Videha kingdom. During the Vedic period, Mithila was the center of Videha kingdom. There were 57 kings in the dynasty of Videha Janak. The list of Janakas who ruled Mithila as per Valmiki Ramayana are Nimi, Mithi, founder of Mithila and the first Janaka, Udavasu, Nandi Vardhana, Su-Ketu, Devavrata, Brihavarta, Mahavira, Sudriti, Drishtaketu, Haryasva, Maru, Pratindhaka, Kritirata, Devamidha, Bivuta, Mahidrata, Kirtirata, Mahorama, Swarnorama, Risovarma, 𝗧𝗶𝗵 Janaka. The most famous Janak was father of Sita, 𝗧𝗶𝗵 Janaka. Ram's wife Sita is said to have been the princess of the land, born to King Janaka 𝗧𝗶𝗵. King Janaka 𝗧𝗶𝗵 was the 21st Janak of Mithila. The epic Ramayana records a dynastic marriage between Prince Rama of Ayodhya and Sita, the daughter of King Janak of Mithila. The town of Janakpur in the northern Nepal section of Mithila is believed to be 𝗧𝗶𝗵 Janak's old capital, and Sita is a Mithila girl. Janaks after Ramayana are as follows: Bhanuman or Bhanumat, Satyadhum or Satyaghumnya, Suchi, Urs-Nama or Urs-Nama, Kriti, Anjan, Kurujit, Aristemi or Arisnami, Srutyayu or Srutyayu, Suparvasa or Supasyu, Srinze, Sri Manvi or Surmani, Anina, Bhaumarat or Bhimrat, Satyarat, Upagu or Upangu, Upagupt, Swagat, Swanand or Snanand, Suvarcha or Subrachya, Suparswa or Suparswa, Subhas, Susrut or Susurut, Jaya, Vijaya, Rit, Sunya, Vidhavya, Driti or Dwati, Bahulasa and Kriti. It is said that the last king of Janak dynasty, Kriti Janak, was atrocious ruler of bad character who lost control over his subjects. He was dethroned by public under leadership of learned men acharyas. Thereafter, Mithila remained without king for hundreds of years. Instead of king, a democratic system was followed where the ruler was elected by the people and the decisions were taken in a collective manner. It is said that Mithila was first democracy of the world. There was no significant ruler in Mithila after Janaks till 5th to 6th century when Jayawardhan Raja Sales became king. He made his capital at Siraha, present day in Nepal. He defended the region against attacks of Tibetans several times. Hence, he was called 𝗧𝗶𝗿𝗵 or King of Mountains. Mithila was ruled by 𝗶𝗶𝗵 dynasty from 6th to 9th century for almost 3 centuries. 𝗶𝗶𝗵 dynasty were followers of Buddhism. Their capital is believed to be located at present town of Balirajgarh in 𝗏𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗵 Madhubani district, India. The founder of the Pala Empire was 𝗂𝗶𝗵𝗵. 𝗂𝗶𝗵𝗵 was the first independent Buddhist king of Bengal and came to power in 750 in Gaur by democratic election, which was unique at that time. 𝗂𝗶𝗵𝗵 reigned from 750 to 770 and consolidated his position by extending his control over all of Bengal. His successors were 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗂𝗵, 𝗏𝗵𝗂𝗵, 𝗧𝗶𝗶𝗵 or 𝗏𝗓𝗋𝗂𝗵, 𝗑𝒃𝒃𝒃𝒃, 𝗏𝒌𝒃𝒃, 𝗏𝒃𝒃, 𝗂𝗶𝗵 II, 𝗏𝒃𝒃 II, 𝗏𝒑𝒀𝒀𝒀, न्यायपाल, वीरगपाल III, महिपाल II, शूरपाल II, Rampal, Kumarpal, Gopala III and Madanpala. The last king of Pal dynasty was Madanpal. Madanpal was a weak king, as he was defeated by Ādisur-Samāt Sen's army in around 9th century. Sen dynasty were followers of Hinduism, and hence people of Mithila, being followers of Hinduism, helped Samāt Sen in defeating Madanpal. The kings of Sen dynasty would rule Mithila are Hemanta Sen, Vijay Sen, Balal Sen and Laxman Sen. Around 11th century, Nanya Dev defeated the last king of Sen dynasty, Laxman Sen, and became king of Mithila. On July 10, 1097, General Nanya Dev declared himself the independent king and made Simravgarh his capital. Some say that he was a general of Vikramaditya, while others say that he was the ruler of 𝗧𝗏𝗃 dynasty in the country of South India, Karnatak, and that he was the commander of 𝗧𝗏𝗃 dynasty. Nanya Dev declared himself king after a spy reported the death of the king of Karnataka while he was conducting a victory campaign. Being far away from Karnataka and even north of the Ganges, he was not afraid of being attacked from wherever in the region. Some have said that Nanya Dev belonged to the Doya dynasty. Simravgarh was the main capital of Tirhut kingdom, founded by Nanya Dev in 1097. Simravgarh was the capital of an independent Hindu kingdom of the Mithila or Tirhut from the 11th century to early 14th century. Presently, it is the municipality of Nepal, located in Bara district, province number 2. The name Simrao comes from the local language Simar, which stands for simul tree, found in that area. Nanya Dev established his supremacy over Simravgarh, probably with the help of 𝗧𝗏𝗃 king Vikramaditya VI. After the reign of Vikramaditya VI in 1076, he led the successful military campaign against the Pala dynasty and the Sena dynasty. Nanya Dev established his capital in Simravgarh and ruled the greater Mithila region for 50 years. During his rule, Mithila came into conflict with Pala dynasty of Bengal. Many Rajput landlords in North Bihar, which is a part of Mithila region, especially in Saharsa district, claim Nanya Dev to be their ancestor. Pratap Malla of the Malla dynasty of Kathmandu also declared Nanya Dev to be his ancestor. The Malla kings of the 17th century of Kathmandu Valley, especially Pratap Malla and Jagjoti Malla, in their writings have addressed Nanya Dev as their principal ancestor with high respect. The Mallas of Nepal had declared themselves as Raghuvangshi. The Raghuvangshi deity, Tulja or Taleju, worshipped Bhavani as their own main god or Kul Devi and adopted the Mandav Gotra of Karnatak Raghuvangshi Nanya Dev. Devi Maju, worshipped by Nanya Dev, was actually Tulija or Taleju. Taleju Bhavani is a deity of the South Indian dynasties, especially of the Karnataka rulers. Taleju is also called Tulaja Bhavani and has various other names such as Tulja, Tivarita and Amba. There is a controversy surrounding the succession of the throne of Mithila following Nanya-Dev's death, as he was recorded of having two sons, Malla-Dev and Ganga-Dev. However, most inscription and manuscript detail Ganga-Dev's rules only. The Pratap-Malla inscription of Kathmandu details that Ganga-Dev came to the throne in 1147 and was considered to be a very brave king. Ganga-Dev was also notable for his administrative reforms and added Darbhanga as an additional capital of Karnatak dynasty along with Simraugad. The village of Gangapur in Madhepura district of Bihar was named after Ganga-Dev. During his time, the economic and material development of the state was very good. Ganga-Dev ruled until 1187. Narasimha-Dev was the third king of Karnatak dynasty of Mithila. Mithila first felt the presence of Muslim invasion during his reign. 𝗧𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗂𝘁, who was the governor of Bengal, undertook an expedition to Mithila and succeeded in compelling the Karnataks to pay tribute. Ram-Singha-Deva was the fourth king of Karnatak dynasty of Mithila. He came into power around 1227 CE and succeeded his father Narasimha-Dev. Ram-Simha-Dev has been described as pious devotee and was a firm patron of sacred literature, and his reign was generally quite peaceful. He compiled several commentaries on the Vedas. He also created various rules that were meant to guide Hindus, and officers were sent to each village to ensure these were followed. Several other administrative reforms have also been attributed to him, including the use of village accountants. During his reign, the Tibetan monk 𝗧𝗶𝗵 arrived in the main Karnataka capital of Simraugad and described Ramasimha-Dev as treating him with courtesy and even offering him the post of palace priest despite being a Buddhist. Ramasimha-Dev also maintained Darbhanga as his second capital, and today many places are found in Darbhanga that reference his name. King Ramasingh-Dev led his Tirut army and attacked the Kathmandu Valley, but his Tirut army was stopped by Kathmandu Valley's army. The people of Kathmandu Valley cut off Tirute army so badly. Shakti-Simha-Dev was the fifth king of Karnatak dynasty of Mithila, who ruled from 1285 to 1295. He extorted money by attacking the states around him. He had attacked the Kathmandu Valley. The Tirut army entered the Kathmandu Valley in the winter of December. Wherever they went on conquering. They conquered places like Tipur and Asnim. The Tirut army remained in the Kathmandu Valley till March. They captured many tolls and forts. In the end, the king within the valley had to pay taxes to the king of Karnataka, and the tax was on. The Tiruts had a great influence in the valley. Benefiting from the economy there, the Tiruts returned home. King Shakti Singh Dev was succeeded by his son Bhupal Singh Dev on the throne of Simraugad, but his son Hari Singh Dev was on the throne in the same year when his ascension was short-lived. Hari Singh Dev reigned from 1304 to 1325. He was the last king to belong to Karnatak dynasty of Mithila. His minister of war and peace was Chandeswar Thakur. Under Chandeswar's leadership and with the support of the king of Hari Singh Dev, the Karnataks of Mithila made an attack on Kathmandu in 1314. The Karnataks made the city of Bhaktapur their focus and plundered the city. After this, they targeted Lalitpur and continued looting and plundering the region. Hari Simha Dev reign came to an end after an invasion by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq forced him to move to the hills of Nepal. His descendants eventually became the founders of the Malla dynasty of Kathmandu. The reign of Hari Simha Dev was considered a landmark point in the history of Mithila, with many events taking place during his 4-decade reign. He introduced many social changes such as the 4-class system of Mithila Brahmins and developed the Panji system. Inscriptions detail that the Karnataks of Mithila under Hari Simha Dev had several battles with invading Muslim kings and were victorious in many instances but were eventually defeated. Mithila or Tirhut army was stormed by the force of the Muslim king of Delhi, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Also, many Nepali sources identify the introduction of goddess Talizu to 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗵. King 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗵 fled to the hills along with his wife Queen 𝗩𝗶𝗍𝗵 and his son 𝗏𝗃𝗃. It can be estimated that the Panchakanya pond on the bank of Marikola of Sinduli was built in their tent. Historians say that 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗵 died at a place called 𝗃𝗏𝗵 in Sinduli district. The Tirhut kingdom came to an end with the defeat of King 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗵 in the invasion of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, ruler of Tughlaq dynasty of Delhi. The last king, 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗵, fled to Bhaktapur with Taleju Bhavani but could not reach. He died on the way. His wife, Queen 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗵, along with her son 𝗏𝗃𝗃, took refuge with King Rudra Malla of Bhaktapur. After 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗵 passed away in 𝗃𝗏𝗵, his wife, Queen 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗵, entered the Bhaktapur court and helped marry her son 𝗏𝗃𝗃 to the widowed daughter of King Rudra Malla of Bhaktapur. 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗵's son 𝗏𝗃𝗃 ended up marrying widow princess of Bhaktapur, Nayak Devi, and became the ruler of Bhaktapur. 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗵 also married her granddaughter, 𝗏𝗃𝗃's daughter, to a young man from Tirhut who also became famous and influential by the name of 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗃 Malla. 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗃 Malla got married to Rajalla Devi, the only daughter of Nayak Devi and 𝗏𝗃𝗃. His descendants eventually founded the Malla dynasty, which ruled Kathmandu and the surrounding areas for roughly 300 years. The Mallas installed Mithila as the language of elites. A branch of the Karnataks is also theorized to have stayed in Mithila, and they eventually became the Gandharva Rajya Rajput of North Bihar. Evidence also shows that the other descendants of 𝗧𝗶𝗵𝗵, including a king 𝗏𝗶𝗵, were continuing to rule in Champaran district of Bihar, India till the 15th century. Doi or Tirhut kingdom was founded in 1154 BS or 1097 AD and was ended in BS 1381 or 1324 AD. Seems to have existed for 227 years. Thank you.